Thanks for joining us today as we talk The Walking Dead. We got a little discussion for Season 9, Episode 12. Bet you didn't know. I'm sorry, I screwed up my own joke.
Ha!
Betta, you didn't know Alpha's got an apple for you.
Beta, you didn't know.
We've also got some news, teasers, and speculation about what's to come. This is The Broken Dead. My name is Dylan.
I'm Lydia.
I'm Quin. I'm just Quin.
So, if you're watching on YouTube or if you're listening in podcast form, hello to all our new listeners / watchers out there, as well as you crazy people who have decided to return. So, you can check out the website. That's www.broken.picturesno.com. And you can find us on social media. On Facebook, we are Broken Pictures Social. On Instagram and Twitter, we are Broken_social. And on Patreon, of course, if you're feeling a little generous or you want to help us out, you can do as little as $1 a month. You can find us on Broken Pictures, at Broken Pictures on Patreon. And more importantly, though, if you would like, share, subscribe, let the algorithm know and other people know that we're out there and it's a good show. And if you're on YouTube, go ahead and tag that little bell
Ding.
to get notifications when a new video comes out. And also don't forget to check out our show called The FOMO Show. It's all the things that you might have missed in top 5 things in pop culture that you might have missed.
But we ramble on enough to cover a lot more.
Yeah. So if you got fear of missing out, check out The FOMO Show.
Because that's what it stands for.
Yep. That's also on YouTube and in podcast form. So special notes. Just want to say rip Luke Perry one more time.
Rip Luke Perry.
We covered that on the FOMO Show, but just it's weighing heavily on me. It's like the first Dylan I knew of in pop culture.
Yourself,
Yeah. Even though everybody was like, "Oh, Matt Dillon," I was like, "I don't know who that is." So, anywho, so spoiler alert.
Spoiler alert.
We will get spoilery. Probably, yes, we'll definitely get spoilery.
If you haven't seen the episode, extremely spoilery.
Yes. So, why don't you guys go ahead and what'd you think of the episode? You want to rate the episode?
Well, I'm going to give it...
That was Lydia's rating, by the way.
7 little piggies out of 10. I'm going to give it 7 this time.
I like the little piggies.
I like the little piggies too.
Yeah.
But I felt like it was a good episode. I felt like they went more into who Alpha is, and I felt like Alpha was just more. Like, I felt actually, like, threatened, like, watching it, like, while looking at her. And then I love the fact that while they're in camp, everybody was whispering. It was just really fun. I enjoyed that they actually did that.
Yeah.
Instead of just yelling at the top of their lungs. But, yeah.
We're the whisperers!
I'm going to have to give it 8 apples. He's good. I actually did hide my eyes a couple times in this episode because of, the head being removed kind of thing. I hid behind my hand. Kind of did that number right there.
When it's really bad, she uses my hand.
Yeah, that's when I'm really scared. But it was just my hand, so it was just, didn't want to watch it kind of thing. Especially whenever they were sewing up some of the heads. So I did fairly enjoy it. I think it's getting better than it has in other episodes this season, but it's not a 10 for me yet, so you got a long way to go.
But getting better. I'm going to say I liked the whispers like you did last week. So I'm going to say 8 whispers.
8 whispers?
Yeah, 8 whispers. I thought it was a fairly decent show or episode. It's more in line with what I've been wanting. However, there was a couple things that I wish they'd really just gone there with.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So, also, if you guys didn't notice, I didn't notice until I saw somebody talk about it on YouTube. they've changed the intro for the 9B. Yeah, at the very end, remember the walker that was kind of like walking away, and then you come into the words. There's two walkers following him, and the one on the right hand side is a whisper. It's got stitching in the back of its head and it's carrying a knife.
Oh, I gotta go back and look at it. That's kind of cool, actually.
And apparently in the intro, there's like, I didn't see it. We looked for it this time, but it looked like that there was some heads on sticks, kind of like they had in their camp.
Okay.
No.
Well, we'll see, I guess. So the description for this episode.
Yep. You want to do your famous movie voice?
Yeah, I'll do it this time. All right. Episode 12, Guardians. While one community struggles to ease tensions that threaten to divide the community from within, the true nature of another group comes into focus. A mission to rescue a friend has deadly consequences.
Bum, bum, bum.
Which, that was the only part that I didn't like, was the rescuing a friend. But we'll get there.
Because she ain't no friend.
Yeah. Well, Henry's friend, I guess.
Yeah.
But it's not deadly for anybody that we care about.
No.
It's like, oh, there's death. I feel like their teasers are on point. Like, it's just like, oh man, this is really intense. But then they just don't follow through, you know. But I feel like they're misleading to a certain extent, and they give too much away at the same time. If you can do both.
Yeah.
It's anticlimactic because they give away things that we don't necessarily care about, and they don't do it in the right way where we're like, there's no payoff.
Yeah.
Yeah, what she said. So I'm just gonna go ahead and get into the episode. We're gonna change up the format a little bit and just try not to go through every single detail. You good?
Yeah, I bumped it like way off.
We're gonna try not to go through every single detail and just kind of like skim the episode. That way we keep the time down a little bit, and it's a little bit more helpful on editing, because if you watch us on YouTube, you know that this episode didn't come out until Monday morning or Monday afternoon or whatever, like yesterday, because I had some issues with my computer and stuff, and I got the FOMO Show to edit, and all this stuff is going on. And my nephew was born yesterday, so lots going on. So... Sometimes things just happen, you know.
They do.
But yeah. Let's get into our story points. We've got. I think it starts off. One of the things that I did like about this episode is showing, because I was trying to figure out like where Alpha lands with the manipulation, you know, because Negan was obviously domineering and manipulative, and the governor was like sneaky manipulative, and I mean, there's different levels and types of big bad, you know, and well, I don't know that. Yeah, I mean, Negan was manipulative, but not purposefully. Maybe I mean, like, he's fully convinced.
Yeah, like he had so much like charisma, and just pure terror into people, that he didn't really have to be manipulative.
Yeah, it's like a cult of personality thing where he's just a force of nature.
Yeah,
he believed in his own Kool-Aid, and that made him made other people want to drink it.
Yeah, he was high on his own supply for sure. Not so much anymore.
He didn't have a supply.
Yeah, he found out pretty quick his supply was gone.
Loved that scene.
Yeah. So, but I did like how with Alpha, because I mean, the reputation of Alpha and the big, like, she's so much worse than Negan. Like, if you think Negan is bad, just wait, you know, all this stuff. So I'm just like, up to this point, Alpha has been kind of lackluster, but I think looking back, I'll appreciate how they built up to Alpha and showing how she is in different situations. But as of right now, I'm still looking for, like, okay, how is she like a bad guy and not just somebody who's trying to make it in the apocalypse, you know, who's just butting heads? Because if our crew, Daryl and everybody, are taking out people just because they're in their way of their own progress, like, they're the bad guys, you know what I mean? So,
like, whether she wanted to be kidnapped or not, you kidnapped one of their people.
Yeah.
2 of them. Right?
Yeah. And I mean, that was kind of fair because, I mean, that Jesus got killed and they were, that kind of thing. But, yeah. So, but I did like the scene with Lydia and Alpha where she was like truly manipulating her word, like just dangling the carrot and building her up and tearing her down and building her up and tearing her down. And just really manipulating her.
Yeah. And then Lydia asked Alpha, was getting information the only reason you came back for me? Like that, like kind of just made it hit home for me when Alpha just answered. What did she say?
Oh, that's a stupid question.
Yeah. Like,
got in her face.
She got in her face. Like, I'm going to come back for you, but if you're going to, like, give me nothing in return, it was kind of a waste. So please get out my face before I slap you again.
Yeah, but here's an apple, and I'll caress your hair, make you feel special, just to keep you where I want you, under my thumb, that type of thing. So I did like how they explored that. I want to see more of that, like just like the depth and the nastiness of her, like why because they alluded to that in her backstory, but it's not quite the same now because she leans so much on Beta,
Yeah.
So, and I think like with the whole Alpha Beta thing, where she's leaning on him to be the muscle, and she's kind of like pulling the strings and manipulating from behind.
Well, I mean, I don't feel like he's necessarily meant to only be the muscle. He's meant to look like the muscle because she's the one who straight up decapitated that girl.
Yeah, but at the same time, I really wish that it had been where the girl actually had, or the guy, or either one of them, instead of just talking, it had been like an actual challenge instead of like, oh, you spoke against me, and
oh, well, she doesn't want an actual challenge. That's the way I looked at it. Like, she does not want that anymore.
She was scared. It's like, oh, that hadn't happened in years.
So, yeah, because that, like, shook her to the core. But she knew from, like, the get-go, I've made her out to be incredibly intelligent and, like, a very strategic person, which is why she probably does not want, like, a straight-up fight. So...
Yeah, but I think it also just, I really would have liked to see that she could handle herself in a fight instead of just being, I outsmarted all you guys.
Well, that's why she has Beta, because she probably can't.
But, I mean, before Beta came along, how did she do it,
She was sneaky.
She was sneaky? I mean, we watched her stab her own husband, so...
Yeah. Well, I mean, that's what I'm saying is, like, she obviously is not... doesn't have a problem getting her hands dirty.
Yeah, she's not helpless by any means, but in hand-to-hand combat.
Yeah, she probably won't come at you like straightforward.
Yeah, but that's like part of the manipulation and the...
Yeah, I don't know. I just would... It felt like it needed more punch. Like maybe the girl lunged at her or something and she was able to like whip that thing around her neck and whatever.
Something about...
I was like...
Yeah.
Oh.
Except it was like the most jelly neck ever. Like,
yeah.
I mean, I know that it's a metal bracelet or whatever that she pulled off and put around the neck and, whatever. But, I mean, there's
to
bones
go through bone.
And,
I was just about to say. And, like, to not even show, like, it was a clean cut when at the end, they throw their bodies out there to the walkers or whatever. It's a clean, like, it's straight across. Like, I don't...
Well, I mean, it's a wire, so, I mean, it would be. But, yeah, anyway. But there was obviously no bone in there either.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like, if they were going to go for, like, the vertebrae separating or something like that, like, you got to...
Yeah, anybody that's ever cleaned an animal and hunted or whatever knows that that is not that easy.
Speaking of that scene, I want to talk about it a little bit because they drag them out there, but we don't see the girl's head. We only see her body and the guy's body. Are they going to wear her head?
Oh, maybe.
Or is she going on a pike?
She's going on a pike.
So if she's going on a pike and they don't wear her skin, so there's a little bit of humanity in there that they're not going to wear just like regular people's skin. They're not going to let them get decrepit enough. to
they
wear
have to
their
already be
skin.
walkers
Yeah.
or whatever.
So to me, that also like showed a little bit of like, we don't want to do that. We knew those people. We like sat around and ate with those people.
Interesting.
But that would be like, I would be straight up wearing that mask around camp, like,
Oh, if you're Alpha,
yeah,
like
you
showing
ain't
off.
seen me cut that girl's head off. You was friends with her. I saw y'all eating breakfast the other day.
Yeah, like she called her out. It's like, I know
want
you're
your
the real one behind this. You know,
You want to eat breakfast with me? Because I'm her now. Like,
you got something to say. Say it to her face.
like to me, that would have shown like I would have been like,
Yeah,
you know,
yeah,
like
exactly.
they should have went there. You got to do those things.
Yeah, and it's almost like they're afraid to go there. Like, I mean, like the neck ripping out. And I don't know, that's like one instance, but they've had some seriously like
Yeah, if
nasty.
you're gonna tease the horror and wow, this is the most horror like it's ever been, there should be people who question why they let their kids watch it. Because I have a cousin
exactly.
who lets her kids watch it, and if it is truly that, they should be like, man, should I stop letting my kid watch this?
Yeah, my sister, my niece watches it. And
Yeah,
she's
like they should have to question it.
10.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's my opinion. On
Yeah,
that.
and I know like they can get away with that kind of thing because it's cable
AMC,
television.
yeah.
And we've seen that kind of thing before. So I know maybe they want to hold out for and not do that all the time. I get that, but when you've got to establish just how nasty Alpha is, like how
Just
savage.
Yeah.
It's
savage,
like the
exactly.
baby, the head getting cut off. It just, I don't know. It just doesn't seem like it's
You
like
didn't
it
sell me on
scratched the
it.
surface. Yeah.
Yeah, you didn't sell me on it at all.
Maybe on the side of, I'll play on the side of like maybe they know what they're doing. Like, maybe there's like little tiny like little pebbles that they're throwing into the water just to shake it up enough to like get you to question, and then like this like they're gonna throw a boulder to make a giant wave, and then you're like, oh no, and throw up a middle finger and leave. So
If you do that, I would actually like that because right now you're just proving to me that you're not really comfortable going there.
Yeah. You're kind of scared to go there.
You're more worried about love interests like Daryl and Connie that you're building up, which is stop. Just stop.
Yeah.
You're only doing it so we love these characters so you can kill them. It's
it's obvious. I mean, we figured out the mode or how things work on shows now.
it's just aggravating. Like if you're gonna have somebody love somebody, have them love them.
Yeah.
Daryl doesn't even need anybody, but
Sure, he's got
it
dog.
would make sense to have someone who probably doesn't talk a whole lot because he says like 5 words.
He talks a lot more this season than he has in a long
that's
time.
true.
But I mean, I do like that there are more interactions between the characters and the relationships and stuff. But it's almost like really getting into soap opera where I feel like I'm like with the music and I feel like I'm watching an episode of ER or something like that, or
you're trying
Grey's
to tell
Anatomy
me-
or whatever.
You're trying to tell me that nobody in the group, Daryl, who's the most
Capable.
paranoid of our group, this new group shows up. We don't know them. We rescued them. And now another new group is here. And that one of this new group decided to come with you to the other old group. And Daryl, who's paranoid about everything, isn't paranoid that she's actually a secret part of this other group. Like, he's not worried about that. He's turning his back on her. Like, walking around. Like, he doesn't seem skeptical at all.
Oh, you're talking about Connie?
Yeah, Connie being out there alone with him, like we don't know.
Well, except that Michonne vouched for him, so maybe I think it probably goes a long
and
way with him.
no. If it does, he's stupid.
okay.
I mean, I love Michonne and I love their relationship, but Daryl, you got to be smarter than that. Like, to me, it doesn't play up our characters enough. I didn't like it at all.
Wow.
And
It's just my
speaking
opinion.
of not going there, I'm just going to go ahead and say it. The rape aspect, like I know that is extremely controversial, but I mean there's entire shows devoted to sexual crimes, the SVU and Law and Order and stuff like that. So and they've done that before on The Walking Dead. They've teased those things, and you don't have to show it like on Game of Thrones or something like that. Of course, but I mean, you can allude to it, and that would make Henry more heroic, where he's actually rescuing Lydia from that. Because as of right now, Lydia has told them stories, they've seen that, Alpha beats her and, call me Alpha and, that type of thing. But, I mean, yeah, it's an abusive relationship, but it's not enough to risk their lives.
Yeah, none of us
community.
feel connected enough to Lydia that we're like, go risk our lives to go save her.
Yeah, they're just bad. They're bad people, but they're not like the claimers who just like, show them all the way and just straight up, just as far as they know,
Yeah.
So I don't know. I feel like there needs to be like a line needs to be crossed so we like the audience knows, and even Daryl and these other people know. I know Daryl feels a connection to her because of the beating with a parent and that type of thing, but there needs to be a line crossed so that we know, okay, yeah, these guys are firmly in bad guy territory.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Because right now they're not to us, and I think it makes it complicated. I mean, especially with the whole Alpha and Beta scene where you almost feel connected to them, but then Alpha goes off and says, I found her suffocating in the closet and I let her nearly die. And then when she got done nearly dying creepy. And she caught her breath, I beat the crap out of her so she would know not to do it again. That's like saying when your kid burns their hand on the oven, you're like, here, let me just put you in the oven since you don't understand that you get burnt.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was a crazy moment. The delivery of it is, I don't know if it's just the way Alpha is or what. I mean, I love Samantha Morton, but I don't know. The delivery is just not doing it for me.
Yeah. And like Beta, like they built up like a kind of relationship kind of thing with them, but take my mask off so I can tell you this story. Now put it back on. I'm done with the terrible story that it doesn't look like served any purpose to use. Yeah. I do like what they're doing with Beta's mask though, where it's like halvesy and it shows his beard. I like that. That's kind of cool.
Yeah, and actually, I'm more excited for Beta.
Yeah.
Than I am for Alpha because
he looks scary.
Yeah.
He just straight up looks freaky.
He looks like he bites stuff.
Yeah.
And
he's got gold teeth. Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Really?
Yeah.
I didn't notice that. I just thought they were kind of shiny.
Yeah, and we're going to get into more about that with Ryan Hurst and stuff. But,
is that who plays him?
Mm-hmm. He's from Sons of Anarchy.
Huh.
So we've got. By the way, I'm back in Team Daryl territory now with him wearing walker skins and stuff like that. Is crazy.
Yeah,
like
enjoy it. That's probably the last time it's gonna happen.
Yeah, I had to look twice. I was like, "Whoa, what?" And Connie too. Like they straight up just walked in there and used. Like, from what I understand, Guardians, which is the episode title, were the walkers that they had kind of surrounding the camp, and they kind of kept under, as like a barrier type thing, and Daryl straight up like used their own methods against them and brought those walkers into the camp.
But it didn't really make a whole lot of sense to me. Like how, I don't know. Wasn't my favorite scene. It felt a little contrived. Like they're obviously spread out amongst the camp, but no one heard them. But they travel mostly in packs when they hear noise. Like how did Daryl get them over there without like nobody heard him luring them over there? Like it just felt a little forced.
Well, they do lead. Remember when with Daryl and Jesus and Aaron and them and the Walker pack herd or whatever just kept turning and following them. Mm-hmm. Like, and it wasn't even when there was noise, the Whisperers were able to lead them in different directions. Just from being among them and
doing the whispering thing. So maybe they took that and Daryl
well, I mean,
did
not whispering, but just kind of like leading the herd by going a different way and having them kind of follow the pack type deal.
Hmm.
It's really weird.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I think so walkers can, I guess, smell, kind of.
Yeah, it seems like they. Yeah, I think I know what you're getting at.
Yeah, like, okay, so they don't look like it, but if they can smell, they smell like regular human maybe. And then,
when they're wearing the dead, and even though they're like kind of leathered masks, I guess.
I don't know. It's like
and they established that big time.
Yeah.
You know, it's like they had to be covered in guts and everything to not attract the walkers. Mm-hmm. And that's the premise behind the Whisperers. But
them being able to lead them, they're doing something. Or the walkers, there's something that's going on that they can just like, okay, this way, come on over here, and then like they go where they need them to go so accurately. And then again, they've probably been doing this for like a while, so they probably got it. Obviously got it like down packed.
And
except the fact that they like some of their camp just died.
Yeah,
because they wouldn't expect me.
Yeah,
but still,
they had their guard down. I mean, they even
get?
had their masks off.
Yeah. And that one guy screamed, and that was kind of game.
Oh yeah.
That also bothered me a lot. It's like, I can understand you screaming, but then like the rest of the camp freaking out, and Alpha being the only one smart enough to continue to whisper, and she's just like looking.
Also, in the beginning of the episode, you've got Lydia, who isn't wearing any skins or anything like that, and so apparently, I'm assuming that that little herd was just whisperers. Otherwise, they're, you know, how would they protect her?
So in the comics, when they're walking back after Carl kind of joins the Whisperers for a split second, him and Lydia, since they don't have skins, they're walking in the middle of the herd. But like they're just like they're in the middle, surrounded. So if anything comes, like other Whisperers will be like, okay, over here, come on, let's go.
Yeah.
But they were just kind of like in the back. I'm like, what?
And then they were in the front.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I'm like, what? I was like, I don't know what's going on here.
Yeah.
It was weird.
It's kind of confusing, yeah.
And like, how do they keep the walkers in that same little patch, kind of guarding the door to their camp without attracting them? I mean, obviously they're whispering inside their camp, but how are they just standing there not getting attracted to other noise further in the world?
I guess the Whisperers keep corralling them.
I guess maybe so. There were whispers amongst them. We saw him when he kind of came out. Okay, I can get that. I'm glad that Daryl didn't wear the mask for very long. Like they immediately threw it off, because it would have been a little weird for me if next scene we see him and he's like, "Yeah, this ain't so bad."
Well, I mean, he did have the ears and everything when he was hunting Sophie, and that's another parallel that is very interesting, is that he remembers hunting for Sophie and failing. And he was out there so long, he came back with the ears and all that kind of stuff, and was just they thought he was a walker.
Mm-hmm. I don't remember that.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm just remembering that. Is what I mean.
Yeah.
And so, that makes sense that he would go after Henry in the way that he did, because he doesn't want that to happen to Carol again.
Ooh. Yeah, you right. You right.
Yes.
I forget that Henry is like Carol's son to her.
Yeah.
Because we just didn't see them together that much, I guess.
Poor Sophia.
Yeah.
Watching that, okay, so real quick, like watching that, I was like really hoping that she was alive. And then like the second she like started limping out the barn, it was, and I was like, oh.
Yeah, that was a huge moment.
Yeah.
I was sorry.
Yeah, it's like we need more moments like that in The Walking Dead.
Yeah.
And it's
heart-wrenching,
been a while.
gut-wrenching, that makes you want to throw up a little bit.
Yeah, and it seems like the last time we had that, even with the Rick leaving episode, was when Glenn and Abraham died.
Yeah.
That's what sticks out in my mind.
And the only thing that makes me want to throw up right now is the whole situation with Rosita, because I just really don't enjoy seeing the little love quadrangle. Is that what Chris Hardwick said?
Quadrangle.
Yeah.
That they got
Even
going
Jessica
on.
Jones said that
Square.
too.
Yeah. I know, right?
Yeah, but I mean that explains why Rosita's been wearing all the stretchy pants.
Except for it's making it seem like they're further along. So if she's obviously not that far along, right? Morning sickness, that stuff. She's in the first trimester, okay. But her and Gabriel seem serious. But her
Maybe
and Sadiq didn't sleep together that long ago. You can get serious in 3 months. I mean, I've seen teenagers do that.
Yeah.
And I remember as a teenager doing that.
Lydia.
Yeah, Henry and Lydia kind of thing. But like, to be an adult and to have lost your love with Abraham. And I get it. Like, she kind of jumped.
It's been several years, since
Well, I'm
Abraham.
saying, like, she was so serious about Abraham, so upset that he just moved on so easily kind of thing. But what I'm saying is, like, she slept with Spencer. We saw her kind of jump around a little bit. That's fine. But to all of a sudden be like, nah, you ain't my baby daddy, but I like you, so you gonna raise my baby with me, kind of thing. Seems just like, man.
Yeah.
It's uncomfortable.
In that scene where her and Gabriel talked about it, it almost seemed as if they had swapped roles. Like he's now the hardened badass, and she's the, faith, believe it's going to be okay, you know?
Cause he up there mad, like
he should be mad.
He looking at us like, no.
Yeah.
No.
Which kind of leads us to another Eugene Decoded. So yeah, he brings out all these charts and lists like with the pros and cons of being a parent. And they talked about on The Talking Dead how like in some places there was like teaching the kid sports, and he had put like -5, and then he scratched it out and put another number because he's like, well, maybe Gabriel would like that.
That's funny.
So I mean, that was really hilarious, just how they did that, and the way that Gabriel sat there and was like, okay. and just
like,
let him
wow.
have his moment. And it's like, Eugene, like if I wouldn't know better, like this dude is really on the spectrum. And like, and I don't mean that in a bad way or insulting way, but like he doesn't understand relationships.
Social cues either, because you see him obviously hasn't changed his ways, looking from the bookshelves over in business that does not belong to him.
I forgot about that.
Yes. I was like, I'm not going to say anything beforehand. So if you don't remember, back in the past, he was
That's
watching
quite the
Abraham
love
and
story.
Rosita get it on from the bookshelves.
So weird.
Super weird. And again, he just can't leave Rosita because now he's watching as Gabriel, Sadiq, and Rosita all go inside to
and he
talk about their love child.
He thinks he's part of this relationship. And Josh McDermott was talking about it on The Talking Dead. He's just like, he legitimately thinks he's part of this equation, and he's not.
He just doesn't understand. Like I said, he doesn't get social cues. He doesn't understand that he doesn't belong with her right now.
Yeah, and just like the pantalones for the...
Like, that's so sweet.
Yeah.
But he could have, like...
The stretchy
he's
pants.
trying to weirdly manipulate the situation to still not get what he wants.
Yeah, it's like, well, I mean, he sees...
Doesn't make sense. He could have just given them to her and been like, wow, I love you, Rosita. How many times do I have to say it?
Yeah.
I said it with pants this time.
At least they were, well, anyway. But I think that he's finally recognized that he is not going to have a shot with Rosita, especially with the baby and all this stuff. And he is like 4th, 5th string.
There's not even another person.
There's literally...
Exactly.
It's Gabriel, Sadiq, alone, baby, Eugene.
Everybody else before Eugene, which in the comics they were a thing. So I mean, it's kind of interesting to see this.
That would be my most favorite combination so far. Would be Eugene and Rosita.
Yeah, it would almost be like a Forrest Gump type deal.
They have the most history.
Yeah,
it would make sense for Rosita to go with Eugene after Abraham died, even though she wasn't with Abraham at the time. She obviously still loved him, and she has the most history. That's where she started out.
Yeah, and Eugene really has come into his own.
Absolutely, and she got him there. But I guess also you probably couldn't get the image of him throwing up on you out of your mind.
That was years ago, though. But still,
love? I don't know.
That ain't no love I want.
So I mean, it's almost like a Forrest Gump situation where he's constantly after Jenny, and she finally just like, okay, and just realizes that he's the one that's loved her all this time.
You trying to tell me she gonna name the son Eugene?
No.
Okay then.
No.
Well, that's what Jenny did.
I doubt it.
She named him Forrest.
Yeah, but but I think he has realized, and he thinks he's thinking in his own way what's best for what he thinks would be best for Rosita is Gabriel. And so because she legitimately loves Gabriel.
And he plays it safe.
And so he goes through Gabriel, which is respectable. You know, he's not trying to usurp the relationship or anything like that. Even though he has had some serious life-threatening situations and you know, moments to contemplate life and death recently.
Maybe he still deals with the fact that he knows that Rosita will never love him because he was a savior for a while.
Maybe.
And in a sense, he killed Sasha.
Yeah. Well, she didn't really care for Sasha. Sasha stole her man anyways.
Also, yes.
Yeah, but I feel like they kind of had like connected.
So many people have died.
Yeah.
Like, yeah.
And
At the hands of Eugene, no less. Poor Eugene.
How can we say poor Eugene? He killed all these people.
Not directly. He didn't. He didn't hold the knife.
Yeah.
I mean, necessarily. He did hold the pill, actually. So that was, but that was a better death because Negan wasn't going to give her a good death anyway. I mean, we've seen that, which is why Michonne can't let him out of the cell. She's like, after all you've done, after all you've done, you think I'm gonna let you out just because you say you're a changed man?
Yeah, and that really hit home. She really nailed him with the I'm supposed to believe that you're changed because you chose self-preservation over survival. Or whatever, it's like that was a good line. But he also nailed her with that I've seen the charter thing, and that's a good racket you got going.
Yeah.
Which was very much like, I mean, he used the mentality of we're saving these people to get people to be okay with him murdering. It's the same kind of thing of like, she in a sense is doing the same thing where she's saying like, hey, I want you guys to have the power, but I hold 40,000 shares. So when we talk about it in realistic, my vote holds 40,000 votes.
You're welcome to do anything you want as long as I agree with it.
Yeah, exactly. And him
it's
calling
like
her
parenting.
out.
Yeah. And that I'm to a certain degree, not to a certain degree, I do understand her mindset because she's got RJ now, and that's the new Andre, and she doesn't want to see the same thing happen to RJ that happened to Andre.
Is he real?
That is actually still a debate. Like, people are still debating that.
The bed scene, like,
nobody was there.
Judith wasn't super weirded out by her looking in there and like, what you looking at, Mom? Like, that's not what she said.
Well, I mean, if that used to be RJ's room, it's like, oh, she's just.
Okay.
Which side do you want me to be on?
I'm playing both sides. I'm playing devil's advocate here.
But hold on. So then, after Michonne and, what's his name? Negan. I forget Negan's name. And Michonne and Negan had their talk. Michonne and Judith had their talk, and Judith shut Michonne down.
Oh, man, that little sharpshooter, she cut her to the quick.
But at the same time, it's like, dang, I raised a little, like, it's like a...
It's like, I want you to be a great person, but not yet.
Yeah, like, calm down. Like, what have I created, kind of thing.
Yeah.
Like, she was like, after she said, well, you changed Mama, and Michonne just looked like, go to your room. No. I just need a minute. Go to your room. Like, you just told me some real adult stuff, and I had to remember you're not an adult because you almost got kicked in the chest. I almost treated you like an adult.
Yeah. That was a hard, like, scene to sit through for me. It just felt really uncomfortable.
Because it's too real.
Well, I mean, just like, it was like, Michonne, come on. You got to think about these things. But then it's also like, look, girl, look who you talking to.
Yeah, that's your mama.
Yeah, I mean, like, it's only like that because we live in a civilized world where children speak to people with respect. And it wasn't disrespectful, but it was very adult-like. Yeah, it was very adult-like.
Yeah, it was,
But she said some good things that Michonne needed to hear, obviously. Mm-hmm. But I wish that they would have shown her going to Judith and being like, yo, Judith, you're right, I'm going to talk to Aaron. Mm-hmm. But she just went and talked to Aaron. But it doesn't show Judith that the things that she said make a difference. Mm-hmm. And in a world like this, I feel like that's really important. Like, she should have made that connection for Judith.
I think she wanted to, so Judith couldn't come
That's true. Can't clap back next time.
Yeah, I do like the parallel that how she deals with Judith is how she was dealing with the council. Like, she was like reigning over them, and it took Judith for her to Negan actually called her out on that. So I mean, I guess we'll see if she changes her stance on what Judith called her out on in the future.
It's kind of similar to the whole, like, here, when someone tells you something and then you're just like, nah, whatever, but then you immediately get Exhibit A and you're like, damn.
Yeah, or just eats at you, and you're like, okay, yeah, that's right. Because your knee-jerk reaction is like, get out of my face. Get that cone out of my face.
I liked that she went to Aaron first and like had enough respect to go tell him though that like, hey, I changed my mind because that's their choice, and that's what I stand for is the choice of people.
Yeah.
And Aaron, you can respect it or you have to respect it, but you can either agree or disagree. That's fine, but I'm letting you know up front.
Yeah, and just putting the power back in the hands of the people and just saying, hey, you know what, I took it too far.
Yeah.
And I really
but
appreciate that. But the fact
that he's just like, I just got to your side. Like, you could have changed your mind before Jesus died. Like, you couldn't have changed your mind before people died.
For real. And I mean, and that had like Aaron's argument is like, okay, well, I see your point now. Like all this happened because of all this, but had they been in communication and making the road safe, that probably wouldn't have been a deal.
Yeah.
It would not have happened like that. Oh, so I do have one more thing. The scene where where dog got the arrow from Daryl and it broke.
He trained that dog so well.
I know, right?
And he was like, "Oh, bad dog," or whatever.
That was kind of funny.
Yeah. So that was completely ad-libbed. Yeah, like it happened on accident, and they just went with it. Yeah.
That's funny. Didn't they do it in memorandum for the arrow
Yeah, they did.
The Talking Dead?
Yeah, and that's where they talked. I think that's where they talked about it. They said that it broke on accident, and Daryl was just like, "Bad dog."
Love you, Norman Reeves.
Yeah.
That's cool.
So we've got some Walking Dead news. There's actually quite a bit of news here. Afraid we're losing another cast member. It looks like, well, rumors are flying. Enid, Caitlin Nacon, who plays Enid, has relocated from Georgia to L.A., so rumors are flying, of course, that she is done with The Walking Dead and moving on. So and they've wrapped up filming and season 9 is done. So potentially we've got some Pike victims here.
That's sad.
And so also Carl Chandler Riggs had a little Twitter fest. He's got some free time going on right now, so he's been going back and watching old Walking Dead episodes. And he said, hey, you know what? I admit that I really wasn't that good of a Carl. He said at first when I was first doing it, he said, I was there and it was really good. And even and then my last episodes were good. But he said in between where I was doing school, he said I was really just phoning it in. And it was just lazy. And he said it wasn't for lack of wanting to be there. It was that he said he was going to school and he was pulling off like 4 AP classes and, pulling straight A's. And he was into his schooling, which is where he should have been, especially as a kid. But at the same time, he admits that that he really was kind of a lackluster Carl. But he also said that he would have loved to do the Whisperer arc and everything, but he said with the time jump and everything, he said he agrees with them because of his performance and everything. He agrees with them writing him off.
He's taking a holiday right now. Like he's not even in school right now. Like you could have just waited.
Well, his plan though was his plan was to stay in Georgia and go to the University of Georgia. So he said with the plans that he was making, he said probably nothing would have changed. So he said he agrees with them writing him off and killing him off and stuff. But he also thinks that maybe with the time jump, it would have been better instead of doing Henry, but to recast Carl as older. So,
that's what I thought they would have done.
Yeah, I don't know because it's still another actor that we're not really familiar with.
But there are so many lookalikes. Like there are at least a dozen doppelgangers for Chandler Riggs out there.
Sure.
That are probably wanting to be actors. Like you could have gotten into something where we were happy.
Yeah, and I feel like this whole arc with Henry and Enid and Lydia and going to get her from the thing would have really, really hit home better had it been Carl.
Yeah.
Because we're invested in Carl and Henry.
Yeah.
We
but
don't
how
care
does
about
Enid feel if Carl goes after Lydia, aren't they supposed to be romantic?
Well, they were
that
at
makes
one
it
point.
the triangle.
Yeah, and that's the thing. Like, even if she had moved on and is with Alden, she still, obviously, from her speech to Henry, still has connection to Carl.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And so that could have been some drama played up there if she had issue and with him going, and Alden had issue with her having an issue about it.
I feel like Enid. I feel like deep down, like we all know why she became a nurse, doctor, whatever you want to call her at the moment. But I feel like she also did it just because Carl gave his life to save Sadiq. So like that,
like in tribute or whatever. And so that also begs the question: like, what is Hilltop going to do? They lose their doctor.
Yeah.
Die. I don't know.
Yeah, that's a big deal. And
hopefully she's been smart enough to be training somebody else up.
Hopefully, yeah.
Seems like that's the thing to do now.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
But with the fair, and if they start trading again, maybe that Sadiq will be going back and forth again and all that kind of stuff. We'll see. So another thing that he revealed was that he was supposed to, or Chandler Riggs revealed, was that he was in talks to reprise role in Carl in a flashback. But it kind of fizzled out and it never happened. Yeah. And that would have been nice, especially in like Rick's last episode, to see the flashback of Carl.
Yeah.
Like that would have really hit home. And I still would have loved to see Glenn, even though Stephen Ewan has like sworn off the show and he's like, I'm not coming back. There's no way. I don't know if there's a personal reason or whatever, but he refused to come back because they even gave him that option to come back. So I don't know what the deal is
come
there.
back in like a flashback or somehow magically come back from the dead?
You know the images that Rick was having instead of Sonequa Martin Green, Sasha, it been like where he turned around and it was Glenn and he was like, "Hey asshole." You remember like when he first saw him?
Yeah.
Like that would have been great.
That would have been
way better.
Yeah. Yeah, nothing against Sasha.
Everything against Sasha. I did not love her that much.
In the end, you still cried when she died, though.
Well, duh.
She was a great character. I think.
Was Lori in the flashback?
No.
Why? She should have been there.
No, he didn't care for Lori no more. He's moved on.
I was about to say, like, that's kind of like disrespectful if you have a new love to include the old love.
Yeah.
Like, that's just weird.
So,
unless she died in that one, too. Anyway.
Yeah. So another thing going on is AMC had an investors conference call. They have these periodically or whatever. And they said that they are fully aware of the dip in ratings for season 9 and in the past few episodes or seasons or whatever, and that it was fully expected that most shows, when they get this deep in seasons, always have a dip in viewership. And they believe that they've managed it reasonably, and it's okay, because really, if you look, like everybody talks about, The Walking Dead is just not what it was or whatever, and we've even said that type of thing before, but that's when you compare it to itself, because it was so far ahead of the competition that it was ridiculous.
Yeah.
But now it is like. It's on par with the other shows. It's still like the number 2 drama on TV. This Is Us is the only one that surpassed it in viewership. Yeah. So I mean, it's still like a dang good show on TV, and it's making a lot of money. So it's not going away anytime soon, because with the Alpha Lydia episode where she talked about Alpha's past and stuff, that was one of the lowest rated or viewed episodes in a long time, and everybody was like, is The Walking Dead going to get canceled? But no, it's not. It's still got some room to fall.
Yeah.
Not, hopefully it won't, but so they also revealed that they have another spinoff in the works. So this would be the 3rd Walking Dead show. They revealed they're doing the spinoff, and there's no details for it. But of course, that doesn't stop the fan base from just wildly speculating about what that could be, because there has been mention of what they could do for a spinoff. Of course, the Maggie spinoff has been talked about, so that could be a thing. Even though, like, from what I understand, most people would not want to see a full-on Maggie show because it doesn't make sense for her character arc at this point, for her going and supposed to be coming back or whatever in season 10. But another thing is David Morrissey, who played the governor, has said that he would love to do a spinoff and talk about like the rise of the governor and stuff like that. And apparently there's some books out there that cover that.
There's a few things. And then there are some mentions of it in the TellTale's season 3. Yeah, season 3 of TellTale's some mention of it because there was someone that was there.
And that's the video game.
Yeah, but I wouldn't want to see that. Nothing against him personally, but the Outbreak origin, I would like to see that.
Yeah, that was one of the things that got me interested in watching Fear in the first place. But they quickly moved on from that, you know?
Yeah, like it happened, few people in the streets, police starts like, why are you being a bullet sponge? And then they're like, her. So.
Yeah. And even like the whole arc with Morgan and how personal that was, like in the beginning of the Outbreak when him finding Rick and so that was a big deal, and that's still something that resonates with fans. So that could be something that would be good, and maybe even have like a military aspect to it, where it follows how the military broke down, and that kind of thing.
I don't think the military is broken down; that they're in a bunker somewhere. But if they do an Outbreak origin, and if the Rick movies are going to get weird, those two need to be connected, because the Outbreak origin obviously is something weird. So weird with weird plus Rick equals I'm gonna watch it.
I would be interested to see Georgie's storyline as a spinoff, and
like who she is,
where she.
Oh my bad. Sorry.
Literally everything I'm about to say. What made
We're
her
just on
Georgie?
the same page.
You know what made her so adept or whatever to collect all of these things that have windmills, and like where did she get all this information?
Yeah, how does she get so successful at what she does, so far ahead at this point?
Well, I mean, it doesn't seem like she has a community, or like originally, like it seems like she's just a nomad type thing.
Really? You think so?
I don't think so. I'm saying how they portrayed it was very nomadic.
I didn't catch it. It didn't come off that way to me. I assumed that she had a community and that she was going around helping other communities.
Anyway, it'd be interesting.
Yeah, absolutely. Another one people are talking about is Rick's brother, but this one's kind of like, to me...
We already saw Shane.
I don't think in the show Rick's brother is a thing.
He's not.
But even in the comic, like... I mean, spoiler alert, he died. So...
But if they were going to do it, they would have introduced them like a long time ago, back when they were in the deep forests of Georgia.
Yeah, nobody ever mentions like, wow, I'm gonna go find my grandma, or I'm gonna go look for my aunts and uncles and all of my extended family. Like they always only look.
They did.
They're gonna bump into their great nephew one day and be like, what?
Yeah, so like Rick finds Carl and Lori, and he's not like, okay, let's go get my mom now.
Yeah, let's go get the rest of my family. Let's go get my brother. You know, like if you were gonna do the brother, you should have mentioned that he even had a brother.
Yeah,
because I didn't even know he had a brother.
Yeah, or showed a photo or something. So another thing in The Walking Dead news is that Ryan Hurst, who plays Beta, he came from Sons of Anarchy, and of course that show wrapped up. And he said that he was always a fan of The Walking Dead, but one time he kind of had this strange premonition that he was going to be on the show, and that he kind of, like had this feeling, overwhelming feeling, just like, hey, this is going to happen. And just out of the blue, he had never really thought about being on the show or anything like that. But people had kind of like at Comic-Cons like, oh, you should play Beta. And he had no clue who Beta was or anything like that. Not a comics reader, but a show fan. And he So after he had this premonition type deal is what he calls it. He had his agent cold call the producers at The Walking Dead, which is not how it's done. You know, usually, of course, there's an audition, and then you get the reached out and stuff like that. So, but he doubled down and told his agent, and he's like, "No, look, I just want you to call and just tell them that I'm interested." And so he's like, "Okay." So they did, and they said, "Well, we don't have anything at this time, so we'll keep you in mind," right? Of course, that means, it's over. But a few months later, sure enough, they called and were like, "We're interested in you for beta." And but it turns out Jeffrey Dean Morgan and Ryan Hurst are best friends. And when Nicotero mentioned to Jeffrey Dean Morgan that they were looking at Ryan Hurst for beta. What?
Keep going.
So they were looking at Ryan Hurst for beta, and he mentioned it to Jeffrey Dean Morgan. Of course, Jeffrey Dean Morgan apparently whipped out his phone and was like, started texting. He's like, whoa, what are you doing? It's not for sure yet. And so he kind of like, he had already sent something. It was like, "I've got good news for you, man." And he's like, "What is it? What is it?" Oh, never mind.
Nothing. We got to.
And so, but it only took like a week or like a couple weeks until he found out.
That's cool.
Ryan Hurst, the man in question, is Gary from Remember the Titans.
What? Really?
Yes.
Oh my God.
I Googled Ryan Hurst, and one of the Remember the Titans pictures shows up, and I was like, wait, what? What? So I IMDb'd it, and it is the case that Ryan Hurst is Gary from Remember the Titans.
Really? This dude is like 6 everything. Like, he's huge. Like, I don't remember Gary being that big.
Let's look and see
That's
how tall
insane.
he is. He's 6'4.5".
6'4.5".
Yeah, he's a big dude.
Just throw a half in there.
And I thought that maybe he, like the way he talks in The Walking Dead, like he's like, so I thought maybe he kind of had the Andre the Giant thing where he's almost like giantism or something. But in the interviews, he's all like big smiles, like, "Hey guys, I had this premonition." And, I was like, what?
I'm so shook right now. Like, I can never come back from this. My life is completely altered.
They're like, all my brain can think about now is crossovers with
his origin story's already here.
Yeah.
We already have his origin story.
Like, I want to see Turk on The Walking Dead now. I want to see Sunshine.
That's fair. That's fair.
Ryan, what's his name? He's a big time actor. Ryan
Hurst?
No, the other Ryan. That was like, he was in Remember the Titans, but he's a big actor now. He's in La La Land and several other things.
I'm looking at.
Oh, come on. What is his name? Yeah, Ryan Gosling.
Oh,
What?
duh.
Yeah.
Why couldn't you remember Ryan Gosling?
Yeah. I want to see this now.
Okay.
Like, and I just thought about this. In one of the teasers, Beta straight up like 3-point tackles
Yeah, he does.
Daryl. Oh my gosh.
I'm about it.
Yeah.
Easter
Oh
eggs.
my gosh. Yeah. This is gotta be. I want to see Zombie Denzel now too.
Oh my gosh. Hayden Panettiere's still around.
Yeah. Oh man, she's in Nashville though.
I get it. She's on a show called Nashville.
Maybe that could be the
Wait a
spinoff.
minute. Something is okay. So if they do Commonwealth, I kind of want the leader of Commonwealth. It's a woman. I just kind of want her to like be extremely pretty, like way too pretty for her to look like she survived the apocalypse.
Mm-hmm.
Because they're all elitists. Like they have their own private military that wears body armors and full automatic weapons. I feel like if Hayden Panettiere is the leader of Commonwealth, I'd watch it.
I would watch it too. I
Is she
love
old
Hayden
enough, though?
Panettiere.
Yeah, I mean they can age her up or down. if
Yeah,
need be.
That's true. That's true. So, let's get into next on The Walking Dead. So, the next episode is... Do you want to do that, or do you want me to do it?
You got it.
All right, the next episode is Choke Point. Daryl's daring rescue mission forces Alpha to unleash a group of her own to retrieve what belongs to her, even if the price is paid in blood. The kingdom's plans to reunite the communities are put in jeopardy.
Hidden Penny Tears 29.
Bum, bum, bum. Okay. So we got some teasers, of course. We're going to skim these real quick. On the next episode teaser, we've got a voiceover that comes in. And, of course, the symbol comes back into play. And we're seeing Ezekiel and Carol with a piece of paper with that symbol on it, right? And there's a voiceover that says, the roads surrounding the kingdom belong to us unless you pay our toll. And so Carol says, this fair could be our last chance. King Ezekiel says, gather every fighter we can spare. And then Daryl, it cuts to, him confronting Beta and all them, and says, I'm sick of running. And then he's looking at Lydia and says, this Beta, is he their best? And she nods, and he says, good, we'll kill him first. And then, of course, we get several shots in succession of crazy stuff happening. And so then we've got, of course, the Walking Dead, or the Talking Dead sneak peek. And this is really just kind of like the same scene where we've got some of the clips from the next week teaser. Daryl is up in a building where he says, we're going to stop running. He's up on some balcony in like some apartment building, and Beta and some other whisperers are in the middle of a herd, and they're coming through town down the street. And Daryl's up on the balcony of this tall building, and Beta tells the others, spread out. And then Daryl sees him coming and shoots a walker. But it's a fresh walker, so it's one of them that in this past episode was attacked by the walkers that he let into the camp.
Oh.
Yeah.
Okay.
So like this guy's just like fresh dead. And yeah.
Okay.
So Daryl, it's like the guy next to Beta, and Daryl takes him out. Of course, he's just a walker, not a whisperer. And then Beta kind of looks up and sees where Daryl is, and that's the end of the teaser.
So why didn't he shoot Beta?
I don't know. Maybe you couldn't tell which one was Beta. He hadn't seen him or something.
He hadn't seen him. Well, I mean, he saw him. No.
Well, he was there with Alpha and everything, so maybe he just doesn't know.
Yeah.
And Beta wasn't at the front, like with Alpha when she came to the front of Hilltop.
Yeah.
He wasn't even there.
Yeah, he wasn't there.
He wasn't there. So.
No.
But I mean, Lydia could have easily said, "Oh, he's the biggest."
He's the biggest.
Because I mean,
He's got long hair.
He's
and
head and
beard.
shoulders of taller than everybody.
Yeah.
And you would think that Daryl can kind of figure. Well, also, why wouldn't you shoot the bigger one?
Even if it is a walker, you take out the biggest,
yeah.
right? That's just, come on, Daryl.
Yeah, get your common sense together here, man.
Yeah, of course they have to set up the fight, so contrived.
What? Spoiler?
Yeah, the AMC YouTube teaser is a huge spoiler. So you've got Carol, King Ezekiel, Jerry, and Diane sitting in the throne room, and they've got this piece of paper from the other teaser, and it's got the symbol on it, and they're reading it off, and it's it says you got to pay the toll or whatever, that this is our area, and it's a group called the Highwaymen, and so it seems like they're a lot like the Saviors in that they want a tribute paid to be able to use their roads. But Ezekiel and Carol are not having it, and Jerry is like, "Oh, I'm so sorry. They must have heard me talking about the fair. Now they know where we're at, and blah 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 blah." And he's like, "No. They probably would have found us either way." And he says, "This isn't your fault." And so Diane even mentions, "Oh, maybe this is Jed's group," and Carol's like, "No, it's not them." And so Ezekiel kind of like acknowledge. He probably knows, so he kind of acknowledges. It's like, well, maybe this group moved in after Jed's group moved on. So it's kind of like, it's almost like an Al Qaeda thing where it's like you created another big bad by taking one out.
Yeah.
So they decide to fight them to keep the road safe for the fair.
Okay.
Because Jerry's like, Your Majesties? We've got to. People are expecting us to keep them safe when they're here, so we got to be ready. You're watching it, reading it right now.
I'm reading about it. Yeah.
Cool. So then we've got Business Insider has this new person that I started following that just covers The Walking Dead, and she's on Twitter. Her name's like Kristen something, and it's a lot like there's another person, I can't remember who it is right now, but that does that for AMC, and but this chick has been dropping some inside photos and like several photos for next episode and stuff like that. But in season 9B, if you go to the AMC website, like all you're finding is these videos again. But before that, they had several photos. But it seems like to get these photos now, you got to go through these Twitter people or whatever. Twitter. But yeah, so there's several photos that show the hilltop on their way to the fair. And so, and it shows that there's something in the road and they have to clear like this tree out of the road.
Which is so silly to me. It's like by now you haven't trained your horses to jump over the tree.
Well, they're carrying a trailer, not trailer, but a wagon.
Cut that thing off.
Well, that's all their stuff for the trade.
Cut that thing off.
And didn't they learn from when Home Chicks, Tammy Rose's kid got killed. Yep. Speaking of Tammy Rose and what's his face are on the wagon with the baby. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, dang.
Yeah. And Magna and Tara and several others are there. Glenn too is there.
What? Why did Tara go?
Well, she's the leader of the hilltop.
Exactly. She's the leader of the hilltop. Why would she leave?
Well, because that's the thing.
Cut off.
Yeah. It showed this past episode when the council had voted again that they were loading up the trailer or wagon to go to Kingdom for the fair too. So it looks like Aaron and several others are going for that. So I want to see who's in that crew, because whoever's in this crew, these are the ones that are potentially going to be taken to have their heads on pikes. So if Rosita's not going, then she's probably out of the question.
It looked like Gabriel was going.
Yeah. So we got. Yeah, it looked like Sadiq was possibly going. Aaron's possibly going.
Stupid. Why would you send the doctor?
Yeah,
just making real stupid decisions.
Yep.
Y'all are trying to kill the people that we like, but you gave them vital roles, and so you're making the people that we like. Well, you're making us not like them because they're being stupid.
Yeah. So I want to start doing this running pike pick.
Pike pick.
Like who's your picks for the pike?
My picks are, I'll just do 3. I'm gonna say Gabriel, Aaron, and Tammy Rose.
Enid.
Wow.
Enid. I don't really have a good educated guess other than Enid. Maybe Connie, but Enid for sure.
Definitely it's going to be possibly Luke. Of course, Enid. I'm going to say either Gabriel or Sadiq. If it is Rosita, like in the comics, like that's her baby gone too. So I mean that changes that whole dynamic.
Yeah.
So you know, and they've spent a lot of time with Jerry recently,
Eugene.
But I would hate to see Jerry go.
I would hate to see Jerry go too.
Yeah,
I think probably Diane.
Yeah, there's really no reason to include her at this point in time.
Yeah, but I mean, it's got to be a border, so it's got to be several people, at least 3 people from every community.
If Rosita doesn't die and Gabriel and Sadiq both die, I feel like that'll be a better story for her and Eugene.
Yeah, that'll kind of segue us right now into there. Yeah, for sure. I'm excited for not next episode, which is Choke Point, but the next episode, which is called Scars, which I wonder what that's going to be about. I'm excited to see where they came from.
Yeah, and let's see, what episode are we on right now?
This is 12,
right?
It'll be 13 next episode, and then 14 is Scars.
Yeah, 13, 14, 15, 16. We've got 4 more episodes.
And the last 2, is going to be wrapping up the Whisperers. So.
Yeah. All right, guys, thanks for watching. That's it for us. Whether you're listening on podcast form or you're watching on YouTube, we appreciate you. And don't forget to check out that website. That is www.broken.picturesno.com. And you can find us on social media. That Facebook page is at Broken Pictures Social, and Instagram and Twitter, we are Broken_social. You can, of course, find us on Patreon. If you want to support us, you can support us for as little as $1 a month, and that'll be Broken Pictures at Broken Pictures. But more importantly, if you would just like, share, and subscribe, we'd appreciate that to our YouTube channel. Or if you're listening in podcast form, I appreciate if you would just leave a good review and give us some stars, and that'll help the algorithm find us, or help other people find us through the algorithm and all that stuff. So, and if you're watching on YouTube, don't forget to subscribe if you like the show. And if you mash the little bell icon, you'll get a notification anytime we release a new video. In mind of that, don't forget that we also do the FOMO Show, the top 5 things in pop culture that you might have missed this week. You can find that wherever you find podcasts are found, and also on our YouTube channel if you want to watch the video. This is Dylan. Lydia and Quin are gone for the day, and I am finishing it out. So I'll see you next time. Thanks. Peace.